I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Broome County Industrial Development Agency Audit and Finance Committee meeting. As we begin today's meeting, I'd like to remind everyone of our duty to act in the best interest of the organization. In keeping with our conflict of interest policy, I ask that each board member disclose any actual, potential, or perceived conflicts related to the matters on today's agenda. If you believe you may have a conflict, please state it now so it can be noted in the minutes. If a conflict arises during the discussion, please bring it to our attention immediately if the conflict is identified. The board member must exit the meeting while the item is being discussed. Transparency protects both the integrity of our decision making and the trust placed in this board. Next on the agenda is to accept the minutes of the meeting.
Go for just do roll call.
Oh, roll call. Oh, you gotta read out roll call.
Yeah, I do.
Blatantly obvious. Peter Newman.
Here.
Nick Bono.
Here.
Joe Maravito. Mike Sawchek.
Here.
And Nicholas. Okay, go ahead, thank you.
We can accept the minutes of the May 13th, 2022 meeting.
We'll move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next on the agenda is the public comment period. This time the committee will accept public comment on matters appearing on today's agenda. Anyone wishing to address the committee must first state their name and address for the record. Speakers will be limited to 5 minutes each. Comment should be limited to items appearing on today's agenda. If a speaker's comments stray from the agenda item being discussed as committee chair, I may ask the speaker to return to the topic. If the speaker continues to address matters unrelated to the agenda, I, as committee chair, may conclude the speaker's allotted time and move to the next speaker. Hearing none.
Wait, I'm.
What were you gonna say? Oh, I just thought you were getting comfy.
5 minutes beginning now. This change that came after the ABO to public comment sticking on agenda items has not been approved by the entire board. It has to be put forth in a resolution. You can't do it ad hoc. You can't do it as chairman. You can't do it as an individual. So I will view this change that happened after the ABO audit and the embarrassment and the almost criminal, perhaps criminal activity. I will view that as a nullity. Now, let's talk about this contract with NBT Bank. I've always had a good relationship with them as a shareholder. They even, when I expressed concern about something that I read in the paper, they've always been gentlemanly with me, even going so far as to hand deliver a letter reassuring me that they weren't going to get involved with a award-winning check kiter as far as taking over payments on Davis College. So they're a good outfit. Has this been submitted via RFP, or is this just a deal with them? I don't see any indication that this went out for an RFP. Maybe I'm wrong. The interesting thing about it is a few meetings ago, I looked at your financial reporting and I said, well, this is a TEL. This is an agency that is insolvent and running out of cash fast because millions of dollars have been spent in property purchases, and you're running out of cash. And that's why this is. And this is a tremendous, and the TEL here is the security that NBT is demanding. Your Westover property, this building, this unmortgaged building, assignments of rent. This is a huge deal. All your brokerage accounts. So that's the TEL. The TEL is that the executives at NBT, a loan committee, is saying, well, we want this over securitized. And this shows if you approve this, this shows the desperation of this agency that's clearly in a cash crunch because it failed to recognize counterparty risk, which is grants that have maybe been promised but haven't been approved or haven't been coming down the pipeline. And that is the counterparty risk. You didn't acknowledge it. You spent your cash recklessly. You didn't conserve it. You didn't pay as you go. This is history in the making, that you could deplete this agency of millions of dollars on essentially a pipe dream of a tech park. You've got to ask yourself this: why didn't Cornell's tech park go over? Why was that foreclosed on? If Cornell couldn't pull it off, how can you pull it off? What's the difference between this tech park and the Charles Street Business Park? What's the difference? Tell me where it's different. Prove me wrong. So you are approving essentially the handing over of assets to NBT Bank after you have allowed the executive director here to set this up for a complete bust down. That's what you got here. You got all the earmarks of a bust down. And because you've overstepped your bounds and you've got people in here as executive director that are inherently dishonest and not to be trusted. They've been caught red-handed, enriching themselves out of the agency funds. And that, my friends, is fraud. And I note with interest, one final comment. 1 week ago, Suffolk County IDA dismissed their long-standing executive director after an hour in executive session. They came out and he was gone. And this agency is allowing a fraudster to conduct business and continue. She's incompetent and she's a fraudster and she needs to be removed.
No.
Well, wait a minute. Who are you? What are you doing? What are you doing? Enough of what? Enough of what? What's your function here? Natalie, what's your function? Don't you interrupt me. Don't you act childish. You had your nails done at taxpayer expense, didn't you?
State your name for the record, please.
I don't have to give it, and you know who I am. You got that?
Not for me, for other people who don't know who you are.
Well, let me tell you something. You don't have to give your name. You want my name? My name is John Solak, and I'm concerned about the ADA compliance of these in-person meetings and the website. Please get working on it.
Wasn't so difficult. Any other public comments? Hearing none. New business. Review, discussion, recommendation of a resolution authorizing obtaining a line of credit from NBT Bank as more fully set forth in the resolution. Stacy, please.
Well, good morning, or good afternoon, I think. This agenda item is related to the redevelopment of 600 Main Street in the town of Union. I want to comment on a first note that we do a competitive bid and RFP process for banking and financial services. This was done a few years back. We'll get you the exact year. We typically do those on a 5 to 7 year term. NBT was selected, so that is why we are working with NBT Bank on this. The item for your consideration today is a temporary line of credit for the purposes of conducting the construction work at 600 Main, which involves the raising of approximately 16 acres of that site, which is around 27 acres, for the development of a build-ready pad. We have received a grant award from Empire State Development's Track C Fast New York program. The total value of that grant is around $7.5 million. The project includes bringing about 160,000 plus cubic feet of fill, clean fill, which has been reviewed by the DEC to bring that out of the floodplain, as we know what happened back in 2011. I'm pleased to note that we have received all of our site plan approvals from the town of Union. I've signed the fill permit and we're just going through a few final pieces of administrative work. LaChase and Gort Construction will begin that work and imminently. I'll let you know once they have the official start date. And I want to acknowledge the work done by the team, especially Amy Williamson, to keep us on track with a very long overdue process. I also want to credit this board because I know we had a number of speculative offers on this site. I think to do this effectively and to do this right, we had to take this on ourselves, and I'm very excited to get us to this point of commencement. Now, with the regard of financing, as I mentioned, this is a temporary line of credit in order to pay for the construction project. If you're familiar with Empire State Development grants, they are reimbursable grants. Given the large amount of cost associated with this project, a line of credit was a prudent way to address paying for this construction process. We do have a construction drawdown schedule, which I don't have in your folders, but happy to send, that LaChase created. So the plan would be some of the work will commence. We will pay that through the line. We will seek a reimbursement from ESD. They will make that payment and pay down the line. This is the exact same way that we paid for the construction of this building. Actually, we received a DASNY grant for about $5 million to construct the building you're sitting in now. And that was the exact financing instrument we used in a very effective way to get this project done similarly. That is correct that we are modifying the initial line of credit because we have drawn down some of our maturities. So we thought it was prudent to seek an appraisal on the building and use as additional collateral. So what you see in in your folders, it's not on letterhead. I'm not sure why MBT didn't put it on letterhead, but it is an updated term letter, which shows a line of credit for the purpose of working capital to fund preparation of a pad-ready site located at 600 Main Street. Technically, that is in the town of Union, New York, not Johnson City. It is a first mortgage on the property held at 5 South College Drive. As noted, assignment of rents and leases, fixture filing on the property located at 5 South College Drive. Where do I find that here? What they are using, essentially, they are using two forms of collateral into a single line. It is the, let me find that page here. It is the 90% maximum availability under the line of credit shall be the lesser of 3.5 million or the sum of 90% of our eligible marketable securities plus 70% of the appraised as is value of the mortgage real property. So again, they're using two forms of collateral for this line. We expect to close on this upon the vote today and begin the work on the construction of that pad shortly. Happy to take any questions.
Do you have an idea how much that is, the line? What that would amount to right now?
3.5 million.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, I agree, it's great structure. Clarifying, we're only taking a mortgage on this property, there's no lien on 600 Main Street.
Correct.
I think there was discussion earlier, we could have delayed payment on contractors and waited for the grant to come in. And I think this is a much more appropriate way to fund a project. I think it's good. There was discussion about the rate. If we have to choose a rate, I'll just give you my opinion.
I would appreciate that.
SOFR is a dynamic, competitive, market-based rate. Prime is somewhat subjective and changes typically when the Fed changes interest rates. In my opinion, I like SOFR.
Thank you, Peter.
So today SOFR is 10 basis points lower than prime minus their formula.
Nothing else, look for a recommendation for the full board.
I'm over.
Make a motion, we accept.
Second. Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Old business? Motion for adjournment is in order.